volume down on my iPad so it doesn't bling in the background.
Yeah.
It's in the kitchen. Yeah, I left it in the kitchen. And I am live.
I'm live as well.
I'm live. I've lost your sound now, but sometimes that happens at the beginning.
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah, you're a bit quiet. I'm probably booming as
Well,
usual.
the darling daughter has absconded with my microphone, so I'm using the built-in microphone. I just realized a little while ago that it was missing, but so that means she's in a room making a video, and I didn't want to interrupt that. So
No, no need to do that. I have one lovely on live. Say hello. Let us know who you are. So I'm definitely live. Yay, Chris Badge. It's Chris Badger. She's saying hi to you as well.
I said hello.
Oh, got 4 on now. Fabulous. Are you feeling better? You look well.
Me? Oh, yes, I'm fine. No, I got a stomach bug picked up from a patient, I'm sure, and went fishing on Saturday. And when I got home, I felt great the whole trip. I mean, Abby and we just caught up a storm. We had a great time, and I got back, and the dam broke, and it's just woo. I mean, it started Saturday night and didn't end until like the wee hours of Monday morning. I mean, it was awful. I just had a real bad experience. So I think I jinxed myself because we had just had the discussion the previous visit about how the winter had been great and hadn't gotten sick and all those fun things. And, there you go. When you want to make God laugh, just, make a statement like, yeah, I'm not going to get sick, But anyway, I'm feeling fine. Thank you very much. There we go. This is what I need to do.
I'm so pleased because I messaged Jill and she said you'd had a really rough day and a really rough night and you were sleeping, and I just thought, oh, bless you, poor thing.
But
Karen is saying hello. Chris is drinking out of her new mug.
Yay. So we had all the mugs claimed except for one. So I have one mug with one person's name by it, and I have that person's address, but I'm not just going to mail it until I hear from them for 2 reasons. One, I want them to expect it, and number 2, sometimes people move.
Yeah.
So.
It took me so long to get them made, didn't it?
Yeah, thanks for mailing, but I'm not there anymore. I don't want that to happen. So, anyway.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Debs. Thank you. I've been dyeing my hair today. What do you reckon on my new hair colour, Jack?
It's bluer, that's for sure. If it makes you happy, I think that's important.
I'm very happy. Where's your wig?
Yeah, right.
We would really match now.
I don't know.
Yeah, I did it all in foils like a professional hairdresser. My kitchen looks like a hair salon.
Well, I have news for you.
Thank you, Karen. Ooh.
This right here is a lot of work that I have been doing for Stu Verhoeven, who finally, after several prompts, sent me completed paperwork that I needed to act on your behalf.
Yes.
And I've got this great copy of your passport.
Passport,
I'm going to change the name and put my picture in here if I ever need to, things get bad around here and I need to act like a British citizen. At least I've got something I can use as a guideline.
Yeah.
Maybe I can escape to Guatemala or something. I know I can get to Canada on a British passport. Anyway.
Oh, goodness me, can you?
So here's what I've got for you. So yesterday is my half day, right? Wednesday, and instead of taking the day to go fishing, the afternoon to go fishing, I went to work for Sue because, as some of you may not realize, we've had some issues with bills, which we didn't think we were going to have because we thought we took care of everything in advance. And in fact, we did, but there was a change in the scheduling or the change in the way things happened when you came in for your cyst. Remember, you were going to go through and see Dr. Patel at his office, and he was going to directly admit you. Well, that didn't happen because it turned out he forgot that he was on call that day. I believe it was a Monday, right?
Yeah, it was.
And he was on call, so he couldn't see you at his office and then just admit you. So he suggested that the only way we could get you in on that Monday, and we wanted every day possible for healing while you were still here in case there was a complication, right? So he said just go through the ER. So we did. Well, the ER decided to send you a bill for $1,400 for your wheelchair ride through and a plug into the computer. So I had a nice talk with some people and went over and explained the situation and that we had prearranged this. And so officially as of today, this ER bill has gone away. All right, this is gone.
Thank you.
So that's done. So I have gotten confirmation that that one is gone. Now we have one more bill you've been getting. This is this.
I got another one.
You got another one because what we did not know, what I did not know and should have been told, or probably should have thought to ask. All right, but you got to remember we were doing a lot of driving and we were out looking at beach houses and things when I was setting this up for you. All right. This is, you got to remember, I was doing this on the road, okay?
Yeah, you're on the road.
You were on the road.
You're just doing the driving. And
that's right, and I'm making the calls. What we forgot about was Mr. I believe it was a male anesthesiologist. I'm not sure. All right, so unfortunately, you've been getting a $2,570 bill from the anesthesiology department. Now, what I thought was that the anesthesiology group was actually directly employed by the hospital. And in some cases, here in the U.S., that is how it's done. In other cases, the anesthesiology group just contracts with the hospital and they do their own billing, okay? Which, unfortunately for us, is how it's done here, or how it's done at Tomball Hospital. So we did not pre-negotiate with them, all right? So as far as they know, you're just another patient coming through and they just billed, okay? So they captured your billing information and have been sending you a bill. All right, so I am actually, we are working on a phone call between me and the head of the anesthesiology department, this department, okay?
Okay.
And this group. And this call is supposed to happen tomorrow, in which I will plead your case as to what happened. I will describe the circumstances of your trip and the fundraising that occurred, and hopefully they will agree to either waive this, which they're not obligated to. Unfortunately, they're not. Or hopefully they'll give us a dramatic reduction of some kind. And I'm going to do my best. I'm going to put on my best sales voice and plead to his compassion to our good friends across the pond and all the kindness that went in to help you come here and to get this taken care of. And hopefully they will agree to waive this. They don't have to, though. So I'm just going to, all I can say is I'm going to do my best, and this phone call is supposed to happen tomorrow. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that, and I've been in contact with them several times today with a different person. So the people that are working on this for you that have no financial gain whatsoever, they're understanding the situation, and they're doing their best to help, and I've already had to agree to come take a tour of the hospital and consider once again coming on staff in return for the work of one nice lady who's in the physician relations department. Okay, so this continues to be work on my part for you, and I'm glad to do it, and we will see this through to the end. And I think that you had some concern that this was going to end up costing you money again, and I hope it does not, and I can't guarantee that it won't. And I'm going to do my best, though. So far we've gotten rid of one of the two bills, right? And that's all there had. You have not been receiving anything from the surgeon or the hospital, right? Nothing directly from the hospital.
I just got the ER bill, and then I got the
anesthesiologist bill.
So, although she said on one of them, she said that's ridiculous. You didn't have a stage for something
that's
like that.
right. And and they completely agreed with me on that. And in fact, the lady I spoke with today, her name was Laura. She is the physician liaison, and she's the one that's made me agree to come take a tour of the hospital and consider coming back on staff. But she was the one who said that she used the word mistake. I used the word overcharged. And so, but I said, look, considering we had pre-negotiated everything and there was a last-minute change because the surgeon was on call for your hospital, and that surgeon also gets a lot of referrals from me, I would see it as a personal favor if you could make this go away. And I know you have a lot of pull with the ER department since they're actually built in. And she said she was rather certain she could make that one go away, and she was able to. So she did confirm that has been dismissed. So you should not, if you were to get another bill from the Tomball Emergency Department, it just would be an overlap. Throw it away. There's no need for any concern. That we've absolutely got a confirmation that has been eliminated. So, but things sometimes, billings are set up in advance and that kind of thing. There could be another bill already staged, printed out, ready to go to you. Okay, but if you do get anything else, simply put it in the circular file that looks something like this. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Right.
Will do. Thank you so much.
And I will do my best with the anesthesiology department tomorrow, and I will update you as that goes. So, anyway, it's it's after midnight your time, right?
Yeah, it is. Alexa's just said thank you. Said you're welcome to you. Just random comments.
Well, we do.
Yeah, and I've even got the Winkster here. Look.
Hey, how are you feeling, bud? You had the cough, didn't you? You had the cough going.
I've always had that.
Was that last week? Wasn't that last week or something? Yeah.
He had a little snooze after work, which lasted 6 hours. So he's just got up all lively and awake now, and he's going to have something to eat.
Good for you.
Bed now.
No, I went to the doctor last week about my OCPD thing.
COPD.
Oh, you're breathing. Oh, yes. It's
got worse.
Tell him your results. Tell him.
I was last year I was 79% below what they would expect me to be able to blow. This year I'm 59.
Boo! Did you change your inhalers?
Well, I haven't had an inhaler before, so they've just prescribed me one.
So they've started you on an inhaler then? Okay.
Yeah, but I haven't actually got it yet. I've got to go and get that.
Yeah.
And they've sent me. I've got to have some emergency steroid pack or something to carry with me all the time in case I have an attack. Apparently, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but we reckon that because since he had his first test, he's started making cigar box guitars, and the bandsaw makes so much dust, and there's all the spraying and the varnish and the sawdust, which can't be.
Well, I know you do. He does a lot of painting and too, right? Don't you do a lot of painting? Yeah. And I know you're wearing a mask, right? Aren't you wearing a respirator of some kind when you paint?
I don't wear, not when I'm painting, only when I'm doing dusty things. If I'm rubbing down and it's dusty, I wear like just one of those paper masks.
Yeah.
He's going to get a proper one though.
Yeah, I think you people that paint really, especially if they use any kind of aerosolized where you spray the paint, you definitely have to have. You just use rollers and brushes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then it's the fumes. Okay, because the actual volatile chemicals, the VOCs.
It's the all water-based paint we use.
Okay, that's good. Well, all right. Well, then something. Yeah, and I mean, it could be the dust. I mean, it could be any number of things. Well, I hope the inhaler helps, and I hope you don't have to use the steroid pack.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he said she wanted to do the test again because she wasn't sure if it was right. I did it about 4 times, and it kept coming up with the same result.
Yeah. Well,
She said, get the inhaler and then come back in 6 weeks and we'll do the test again.
I think that's excellent because sometimes there's a seasonality to this. I've had some patients in with allergic asthma who here recently, we've had a lot of pollen. We've had a lot of tree pollen that's been coming through. We get cedar and oak pollen this time of year, and it's just really been very, very heavy, very thick. And as a result, I've had a lot of people living with allergic response to that and asthmatic conditions where I've had to give them temporary inhalers. They won't need these medicines in a month, probably. And so you may have an allergy or something that's contributing to your pulmonary function right now. Maybe you'll do better next time.
Yeah, I don't feel any more breathless or anything, and I haven't been coughing nearly as much recently, have I?
No.
So I don't feel any. I said to her, I don't, and I think all the answers I gave her to the questions were all the same as before. That's why she was surprised that the result was different. She was like, well, it's just that's different. She wasn't sure if there was just something with what was going on.
Yeah.
So she said, we'll come back in 6 weeks and we'll try
Let's
again.
hope it improves, and hope it is a glitch. And he's also had his hand x-rayed, haven't you, Wink? He's been a calamity of hospital visits, x-rays and specialist doctors.
They think it might not be carpal tunnel. I think it might be arthritis in my hand.
Does it hurt right here?
Yeah, sort of
arthritis.
Yeah, it's where it aches if I press it.
That's one of the most common places for osteoarthritis to begin, is right there on the hand. Yeah. When people come in and say it's hurting right here, Doc, I know it's arthritis.
I get this other thing as well, where when I'm rolling sometimes, I get like
ting.
It's almost like a stinging itch.
Yeah. Here. Now that could be a carpal tunnel symptom. That could, that part. Right. One way to know is to take your wrist, bend your wrist, and just have your darling wife tap on it right there.
I feel it pinging up my thumb.
So that's a Tinel's sign, or Tinel's sign. That's a sign. I can't remember the full name, but yeah. So what it means is when you put a little more pressure through this area. This is the carpal tunnel, so to speak, right? So basically, the median nerve and the flexor tendons of the hand run through there, and then there's a thick tendon that runs across here, right? And so when you do lots of work, you get inflammation and you get some deposition of calcium and so forth on the tendons. Well, those begin to crowd the nerve, and the nerve feeds the thumb first, second, and part of the third finger here. And so when you tap on it, when you're bent, it'll give you a tingling that'll come up through here.
Yeah, it's only in the thumb I get the tingling.
You just feel it in the thumb. So, yep. So there you go. So you have more than one problem. You're like a dog. You have fleas and ticks.
Yeah, great.
Tell my darling husband.
I'm just ruined. We had a rehearsal last night.
Oh yeah, how'd it go?
This is with Buzz, the main band, because we're doing a gig tomorrow. And we started off the rehearsal with everyone going on about how ill they were. Mac, the other singer, he's got arthritis in his hand, he's been told, and he's got gout.
Oh no, yeah.
He's a big drinker. Big drinker.
Yeah, so we were all going through all our ailments at the start of rehearsal, having like an ill-off to see who was the most ill. And I said, well, I can beat all of you because I have an incurable lung disease.
like a badge of honour.
I was like, I've ruined myself more than any of you.
Oh yeah, and he's got tennis elbow as well.
I've got tennis elbow at the moment as well, but that comes and goes often.
Yeah, that's from painting. That's definitely from using the brush.
And also, whenever he lifts anything, he's always he'll lift something heavy and he'll be. I'm trying to get it in. He'll lift it like this. He'll never let his elbows be straight and let his shoulders lift it. He's always lift his arms up a little bit like this, which isn't very good for it. But a friend of mine actually said her husband had it, and he got an elastic band that he put round his fingers, and he just did this, like just sat watching the telly doing it on the sofa, and it made it go away, and it's never come back again. And I wondered what you thought of that.
I think that's really fascinating. I think that that sounds really interesting because basically what that does is it strengthens the extensor muscles here, which are involved in the whole tennis elbow is lateral epicondylitis. If you see my regular channel, you see occasionally I'll do an injection in there for people, and then I get griped out by everybody. Oh, you shouldn't ever inject cortisone, but it gives people immediate relief. And But you can wear, there's a strap that you can get that goes around the forearm right up here, and it's basically a tennis elbow strap, and it sort of holds things in place too. And if people will wear that, it'll take the pain away, and sometimes that'll allow for healing too. But no matter what you do, if you continue to do some kind of activity that's really aggravating that lateral epicondyle right there, the condition will return. So what I tell people is, look, we always try the conservative things first, the topical anti-inflammatories, and basically using the strap and give it a little bit of time, that kind of thing. And if that doesn't work, well, then we try an injection. I'll usually allow them 2 injections. After they do the second injection, if they come back for a third, I don't do it. I say that's enough. You have to go see the orthopedic surgeon. So then it's just a step up to a limited doctor to have them tell them the same things that I've already told them. And they'll go ahead and do a third injection. But sometimes they have to actually operate and remove whatever scar tissue that's causing the discomfort at that point. I'm not exactly sure what they can do. Sometimes they relocate tendons and things like that. But so oftentimes just making the referral lets them know that, hey, this doctor is telling me that this is getting worse. I need to stop doing that thing that I'm doing that's causing this. And a lot of times people know what it is they're doing because they begin to feel the pain when they're doing that particular thing.
Yeah.
So if Wink feels that in his elbow when he's painting, well, then he knows that that's what's causing it. If he doesn't, then that's probably not it.
I don't get it when I'm painting. I get it when I've just done it recently, just painted 500 fence planks and picking them up and moving them.
Okay, so maybe sanding or maybe there's some other movement. So do you know what it is that causes it?
Since I've stopped doing that,
yeah,
then it's kind of eased off again. So
and making my trug didn't help, did it?
Yeah. What really started it off was making Susan's vegetable trug, carrying all that heavy wood around and building.
You go.
That kicked it off because I've had it before.
Because he'll lift everything with his elbows up like this.
I'm a firm believer that anytime you can blame your wife for something, I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
Oi!
Hey. Hey, we men are talking here. All right.
Man talk. Man talk.
Man talk.
Oh dearie me! So my husband is officially falling apart in several departments.
Well, I talk to some patients, that say that that they started falling apart when they were in their 60s. But my experience, I will tell you, is that the decade of life where people really begin to have the most problems is in the 70s. Now, that's assuming they make it through the 50s. So if you make it through your 50s, you got a real good shot getting through your 60s. So it's the odd numbered decades that I have found seem to be the problems, and there's absolutely zero science behind this, but this is sort of an observation, okay? So in your 50s you're going to start having problems. That's when your friends are going to have their heart attacks, and you're going to have people from your high school class that had to go in and have bypasses and things like that. If you make it through your 50s though, you probably got a good shot at getting through your 60s. But the 70s are tough. A lot of people don't make it through the 70s. But if you hit 80, you got a real good shot at making 90. I'm just going to put it that way. If you have,
excellent.
And then if you make it to your 90s, good luck.
I'm going to be doing yoga on the television at 107. I've decided. And I'm 55 and everything's working.
Good. That's wonderful.
So, but I think Wink should try this exercise. But he's like, oh, I'm worried it will hurt my thumb. But I think it might help just strengthen his forearm.
Well, it might be interesting to do a little online search and see if you can find some place that talks about some physical therapy activity that talks about doing that particular movement just for tennis elbow. I'm not familiar with it. It sounds like, it certainly makes sense to me anatomically that it would be helpful. So, but it probably would be very reassuring to find, some demonstration of that coming from a physical therapist as a professional saying, do this for tennis elbow.
Oh, right. That's good. I might look up the I always have to type in the most famous physiotherapists on the internet. There are a couple of blokes that are hysterical, and they've got all these incredible exercises and lower back pain and sciatica, and you should look them up. Actually, they're hysterical. They're really good. So they might have one on there. One's called Doug, and I think it's Doug and Dave, the most famous physiotherapists, and they have this little song they sing at the beginning. And they're really funny. They're kind of like, one of them's slightly funny and one of them's like a straight man. They are really, really, really good. And they've got they've got, amazing exercises for how to keep your lower back strong. And
wonderful.
Stuff. Yeah, they're really, really good. Look them up and see what you think.
Might have to do that. Okay.
So we've got loads more people have come on. I've been typing hello. We've got Bonnie and Carol and Chrissy and Sika. And Kel is on as well. I think I've got everyone that you didn't know had hopped on. And they've all said hello and everything. Lots of them said hello to you, Wink.
Oh, I didn't even have my chat box up. Hello to everybody. Hello. Sorry, goodness. Sorry, Carol. Just because you're 71 doesn't mean you're not going to make it through this decade. We were just, like we said, that was completely non-scientific, okay?
Yeah. Deb says she's got another good decade in her.
I'm hoping somebody had just turned 80.
I have a good decade yet.
I still have a full decade. Good.
Yeah, she is a full decade.
It's just really funny, though. It is an observation that over the years I've noticed that the even-numbered decades seem to be pretty solid for most people, that the odd-numbered decades seem to be more problematic. Like I said, it's just one of those things. It's like the full moon in the emergency room thing. If you go back and you study it, it's probably not true. But it does seem like it's different, It's one of those things, right? So.
Excellent. No, I said stop the microwave beeping, so it's beeping. No, I put a wash on. But don't worry, I'll do it when we're finished. Sika says she's seen the physiotherapist duo. Yeah. She's seen them a couple of times. Hi, Ms. Al, how are you doing? It's Jackie from New Zealand. She's saying hi to you as well.
Hello.
So I would just like to let you guys know that I am on day 2 of a 2-day fast. I might even fast tomorrow because I haven't felt hungry once today. Not once.
Good for you. Good for you.
And it's I fasted last Thursday, and then I fasted, what day is it today? Thursday, Wednesday. And then I thought I'd carry it over to today. And it's going really well. It's just so nice not having to cook anything.
It's definitely the easiest meal preparation day when you're not eating at all, right?
It is. I'm just looking at the avocados going a bit spoilt in the fridge, going, oh, well, never mind. The pigs will enjoy them.
Oh, my goodness. Speaking of produce,
yeah,
the blackberries are in season here, and they've got these great big tubs of blackberries for very little money. It just, I stopped by my Kroger yesterday and picked up a big container of blackberries and just ate every bit of them. They were just so delicious.
Oh, delicious.
They're just in season. I don't know how long they'll be in season, but they were fabulous. They were really good. I don't know. Are they in season? Are you seeing them here? Are you guys seeing them over there or no?
It's September that ours come into season, and in fact, when the horses start to grow their winter coats, it's called a blackberry coat because that's when the blackberries come into season. In the kind of August, they're kind of red. Bright red. I mean, I like everything sour, so I'll eat a heap of bright red ones and go, absolutely lovely. Chrissy, it was the microwave in our house. Chrissy's been walking around her house trying to stop the beeping. Sorry, that was Winky had his dinner in the microwave, which is a vegan stir fry that I made. It's a curry that I made.
Oh, in fact, love that.
Everything Wink's eaten this week that I've had anything to do with has been plant-based. I looked up an Indian Balti recipe, which was Nigella Lawson's, and I did that, and he really liked that. And this one is a oh, I can't remember what it was. It's like a coconut curry or something, and it's got coconut milk in it and the usual suspects for Indian. But it's really, really nice, and it's got mushrooms and tomatoes and cauliflower and leeks and spring onions in it, and it's really, really tasty. I had it on Tuesday. It was really, really nice.
Sounds fantastic.
I know you did say that plant-based eating really helps COPD.
Well, I was going to mention that a year ago and a year and 2 months ago, I was on 2 inhalers. I was on an inhaler called Trelegy, which is 3 medications in one, and I used it in the morning. And then I had a rescue inhaler, which was an albuterol inhaler, that I would have to use occasionally throughout the day, so I would be able to carry on full conversations with people, because there was so much inflammation in my lungs that I had asthma. I mean, and it was a year-round problem. I'd been using inhalers for several years, and it was just, I'd never had asthma as a kid or anything. It just, or maybe I did and didn't know it. Maybe it never really affected me, but it had become a problem. And when I went plant-based, within a matter of a few weeks, I didn't need the inhalers anymore. I mean, I don't know that if that's, I've really not heard that experience from a lot of other people that have made the, made the change over to a plant-based lifestyle. But I would be very interested to hear about more of that kind of situation. But all I can say to Wink is it might be worth a try, bud. I mean, I don't know. What was causing my problem had to have been inflammation from the animal products I was eating, because when I gave that up, it got better. Your condition may be chemical exposure related and that kind of thing, but it won't hurt you to try, Yeah. What's the harm in giving it a try, It might be helpful.
What's the harm in giving it a try, darling?
Doesn't want to be able to have a steak.
Yeah, but you could give it a try. You could give it a try, couldn't you?
Yeah, but then if it works, I still won't be able to have a steak.
Darling, you could give it a try.
You see, there's quality of life and there's quantity of life.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. But you have to also keep in mind, quality of life also involves being able to breathe. Okay,
yeah,
so
that's quite important.
That plays into it as well, especially when you have such a wonderful wife who will cook amazing vegan meals for you. It certainly would seem to me. Now, it's not my place to dictate what another man eats, but I will say this: I would think that in your situation, it would be worth a 90-day challenge. A 90-day challenge to see that if going vegan would improve your lung function significantly.
What if I was to do a bit of both? Do you have to cut the other thing out completely, or I could just do kind of, it could be a part-time one?
Well, one thing that I have noticed is that if you give up dairy, it seems to help the lungs more than giving up just the meats. So maybe just give up dairy. Maybe just do that. Give up eggs, chicken eggs, cheese, and yogurt, and milk, and ice cream, and that kind of stuff, and see if you don't notice an improvement. And look, and if it doesn't help, if it doesn't make a big improvement, you haven't lost anything. You go back to eating your meat. You go back to eating your ice cream. Who cares, right?
I hardly ever eat ice cream and stuff like that. I like milk in my tea, but that's the only thing I have.
Yeah.
So like 2 pints of milk lasts me like over a week.
But you also like cashew nut milk, so it would be easy for you to swap because you got used to that, didn't you?
And cheese, I do really like cheese, but I only have it if I happen to have
I don't buy milk cheese anymore.
If I have a bolognese or something, I like a good grate of cheese on it.
But you can have
but
my
I don't
cheese
eat
instead.
tons of cheese.
No, he doesn't eat tons of cheese, but he does eat McDonald's and BK's and a lot of slurry.
Not that often.
No, but you still do. Maybe you could cut out processed foods and dairy.
I have a Mac about 2 or 3 times a month.
Well,
how
about just something to think about, and you could always try any time, or you don't have to. It's just totally up to you. But
Like
you know,
90-day challenge would be
that's
a
a
good thing.
significant drop off in your lung function, going from 79% of predicted to 59% of predicted is a big drop.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, that's
And
a
if
big
that is the
drop.
true figure, then you've got to make some changes or it's going to carry on, and then you're going to be walking around with a blooming oxygen mask on you.
Yeah, and I have tennis elbow from carrying the oxygen bottle.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'll
And then the arthritis in the thumb will get worse, from holding
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I to unscrew the valve.
that's it. You could give it a whirl.
I think we should just retire would be the most handy.
Well, you still won't be able to breathe, darling.
Yeah, but it doesn't take much effort to lie around in bed.
I see. I'm going to be the slave. Well, I think he's going to give it more of a thought than he would have done if I'd talked to him. So thank you very much, Jack. Hi,
I'm always glad to be an instigator. I mean, to be a helper. So.
Excellent. You can give him the once over in Texas. Who have I got? I've got Leanne has come on. She's saying hello.
Hello.
She's had a busy week. She's been having some dental work done and a yearly eye exam. Yes, Chrissy, I got my yoga in. I did a core yoga 23-minute session, which just about blew my ribs off. So I got a good practice in there. Thank you very much. Sue better get used to all that Indian food. I could eat curry every single meal forever. I lived in Indonesia for 6, 7, 8 months, and every meal was a chili meal. And their opinion is if you don't eat rice with each meal, then you haven't really eaten. And they'd get really worried about me if I hadn't had rice. They would get all motherly and cluck around me until I'd eaten some rice.
Isn't that interesting? And over here and in so many other places, if you don't get meat with every meal, there's something wrong with you. Isn't that? It's just different cultures. I love to study this stuff and hear these stories about people who what the expectations are as to what is eaten and why it's so important culturally in each situation. And we supposedly think that we have scientific reasons for all of this, and we don't. And they have maybe religious or just tradition reasons. So who knows?
We ate. I mean, everything that I ate was grown in like a 5-mile radius of where I was. So everything was out of the soil I was walking on. I had the most incredible chef who was the head of the household who cooked all my meals for me. And we had chicken one time. This is 3 meals a day, chicken once. We had water buffalo. She cooked it for us once, but we had to go and get the meat because it was very expensive. And it's rendang, which is like an amazing. They always cook it for weddings, and we did go to about 4 weddings, so we had it there. But apart from that, we had that once. We had quite a lot of lobster actually, because it's as cheap as chips there. But not quite. I mean, we would have like these little fish, and they were absolutely delicious. I don't know what they were called, but we would have like one fish. Not always. Sometimes eggs, but virtually no kind of flesh. Mainly seafood and lots of vegetables and lots of weird stuff that grow on trees that look like coconut trees that I haven't a clue what they're called in English. That were absolutely delicious, like nuts from like these big nuts. They look like dates, but they weren't. They were gorgeous. And the food was incredible and really, really hot. And I loved every second of it. Right. What has Chrissy said about her numbers? Chrissy said, I'll take quality of life over quantity of days anytime. Ha. Wink, they just came out with a creamer that isn't a milk product. Brilliant. That's fantastic. Thank you for that, Sherry. Hi, Sherry, by the way. Chrissy said, by the way, I've just had blood work again. Vitamin D is at 64.
Wow, that's great.
That's really good.
Wonderful.
And yeah, Chrissy, Dr. G is saying dairy is worse meat. Dairy basically causes the body to create mucus. And if you have a lung complaint, even if you've just got a common cold, you definitely don't want to be eating dairy because it makes this slimy mucus. So it makes it harder to blow your nose, harder to clear your throat, and all of that business. So
right. And
I think
when you have a child that has a cough, you don't give them milk, right? We all know this intrinsically, right? It's sort of like the body's rejecting the milk with by covering it with mucus and helping it makes the cough worse, right? So it's almost like the oyster that gets the grain of sand and so it begins to coat it with something to help kind of get it away from me, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's an old wives' tale that drink a pint of milk before you go out on the lash, which is
Right.
going to get drunk because it blocks your stomach from processing some or yogurt. Wink saying I hadn't heard the yogurt one, but it lines your stomach with mucus so that your stomach can't extract as much nutrient out of the food. And that also works for alcohol, which is why you can drink more and still be a man standing up, not make a fool of yourself at the end of the evening after 10 pints or whatever it is.
Right.
Hi, Wonder Woman. Thanks. I'm loving my new hair too. Thanks, Sherry. Eat like a Buddhist monk, Karen is saying. It was 8, then 53, and now 64. That's what Chrissy's blood works were.
That's wonderful.
Right, that's interesting. Sherry is saying she has a friend that is doing the Thrive. No idea what that is, but it must involve a lot of dairy. All she does is cough, and I told her to stop using dairy, but she won't. It's difficult to tell people what to eat. They get very defensive about it, that's for sure.
Well, I repeated.
Right,
I'm sorry.
Carry on.
I thought I caught a break there. I apologize. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's very hard to catch a break when I go off on one, isn't it?
Well,
you and I are a bit similar there.
Well, and you were talking about labs. I did have my labs redrawn on Friday, and my hemoglobin A1c was 5.2, which is very similar to the last one, which was 5.1. So essentially the same. My kidney function, my GFR was 97, and if you'll remember, way back when, before I started all this, I was in the 50s, and then when I had about 3 months in or so, I was at 102 or 103. So again, still very good kidney function. My lipids, my cholesterol was a little higher than I thought it should have been. My bad cholesterol number was around 115. Which of course it's a lot better than over 200 where it used to be. And my total cholesterol was just fine though. It was right around 180. We want that to be under 200. My triglycerides were just over 200, which means that I'm probably getting more fats in my diet. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If they're good fats. So I do eat nuts and seeds and avocados, and those are all sources of fats, and they're going to push your triglycerides up a little bit when you eat them. So I was not, I was a little bit disappointed. I wanted to see that triglyceride number to be under 150, but it wasn't. So one of the things I'm focusing on is cutting down some of the fats that I'm getting in my diet, even though they are plant-based. I'm cutting them down. So just a little update there on my blood work. Everything else looked fantastic. Everything looked fantastic. I mean, even my lipids compared to where I was before this all started with the triglycerides of over 600 and a total cholesterol of over 300. With LDL, I believe, was over 220. My lipids now are incredibly good on no medication. So anyway, just wanted to share that. The only thing that I was just a little disappointed with, I would have liked to have seen my lipids a little bit better. My HDL was good. My LDL, I would have liked to have seen that under 100, but I think I probably am eating, probably too many processed vegan things. I do get some processed vegan things. So
Yeah.
my focus, because of that, is now to say, okay, I just want to be more, make sure I'm working harder to ensure that I'm getting that 80% fruits and vegetables, because I think what was happening was I was getting too many grains and too many nuts and seeds and those things that you want to kind of gravitate to. So for me,
Yeah.
that's a reminder. Say, get back into,
Yeah.
those fresh peppers and bananas, and make sure I'm getting enough of the fruits and vegetables. And I think I probably slipped a little bit and was getting into the stuff that was a little bit more calorie dense, and it
Yeah.
showed up a little bit there in the lipids. So
Wow.
I'm certainly tremendously healthier than I was before all of this, began. But there's still some room for me to improve. So I'll be working on that.
Oh, that's brilliant. And what about swapping some of those grains out for avocado?
Well, I think that you got to remember avocado's loaded with fats too. It's really loaded with fats. So what I'm going to do is try to cut the grains out almost completely and limit my avocados. Is just what I'm going to do. I'm not going to cut the avocados out. I'm going to limit them. I'm going to eat less. Maybe limit myself to maybe one every other day or so, as opposed to where I might eat one or two a day. So there you go. I mean, I really like the avocados. It's really, again, it's a calorie dense food, so that's what we tend to gravitate towards. So I need to work on high dietary fiber, making sure I'm getting enough protein, and I am. But I want to see an improvement in the lipids. So I'm going to be really focusing on more just fresh fruits, more of that raw vegan kind of thing, where
Yeah.
you're eating raw fruits and vegetables and staying away from the avocados, or at least limiting those, and limiting the nuts and seeds, and eliminating the grains. So, and then see where I am in 90 days, recheck, and see if that makes a significant difference or not. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it'll be interesting to see what your results are there,
right,
because you kind of, your bloods are kind of steering you to what
right.
what would better serve you to eat. I'm literally just still twisting about, not having a clue what my blood works are. Debs keeps saying, get Dr. G to do your blood works for you when you come to Texas, and get him to do weeks, and then you can compare a meat eaters to vegans.
There you go.
Yeah, that's really funny. So yeah, apparently this Thrive is a diet. That's what I found out. And Leanne's saying, well, they tell you if you have a cold, you should not be drinking any dairy products, lots of water and chicken soup. Obviously, without the chicken, babes. For us lot, anyway, for most of us.
Right.
Laurie's come on, Kat's come on. Right. Let's stick your questions in capitals, because I'm going back, because I know. Right. Leanne is going to have a physical in May, and she's definitely going to post her blood work. And Wonder Woman is on. Hello, babes. How are you doing? And she doesn't like curry. I just love it. I'm addicted to chili.
I love the taste, no doubt.
Oh, I just love them. So, I'm looking back. Hi, Linda. Sorry, I think I missed you, Linda Helms. So, have you any questions for us? We've been chatting about a few things here. I just want to let you know, those of you who've come on, if I haven't, because I don't know if I told you before we actually went live, or whether I said it, but I have now, on day 27, I think it is, I have lost 15 pounds in weight, and all I have done is eat the same and start yoga. But I did a fast, my first intermittent fast for like 3 months, on Thursday, and I'm on day 2 of my of a fast, and I'm not hungry. I think I might have said that while I was on, actually. I've got that. Obviously, yeah. I've got Alzheimer's today. God, I've talked to so many people today. I don't know what I've said.
Well, you want to make sure everybody knows, and so you repeat yourself. But that's okay. All right, that's fine. Well, you know.
I'm so strong. And I posted a picture today of I show you this picture. We have a character in one of our sitcoms called Nora Batty, and she's this old lady who her stockings are all wrinkled round her legs, round her ankles. It's not obviously a very good look. But I took a photograph of myself today because I realised my yoga leggings are now completely baggy. Where are they? There it is. Hang on, let's see if I can get this. Look at that. Can you see all the wrinkles in my leggings?
Yep, definitely.
That's Lycra, folks. Too baggy. I think I've got so many holes in them as well from hanging over the pig fence. So I'm really thrilled, actually. Really, really thrilled. So I'm just want to put that out there because I'm so proud of myself. Yes! And I have a fabulous cooking video for you. The lovely Alicia, Chef Alicia, and Anna came over to my house on Friday, and she showed me how to make a nut milk. Oh my goodness, it is just like easy beyond belief. And then it's like 25% nuts instead of 2% nuts, and it's got no preservatives in it and all the stuff they put in the nut milk you buy off the shelf. It was just so ridiculously easy. I don't know why I haven't been doing it. So I've been making my own nut milks. I haven't made some for a couple of days because I haven't been eating anything. And then we turn that nut milk into a cheese that I think even you would like. It was really delicious.
Interesting.
Even Finian liked it. I nearly had to lay on the floor in a state of shock when he went, yeah, that's good.
It's like cheese blancmange.
Okay, Wink said it was like cheese blancmange, but anyway, it was, and you can grate it and you can melt it and make nacho sauce with it. We also made a parmesan as well. What else did we make? Oh yes, and she said when you've squeezed all the water out of all the nut pulp with like almonds, there's a load of fibre there. You can put it in the freezer, and then you can make bread with it.
There you go.
So I'm going to collect nut finings, and I'm going to make your bread with the leftover from my nut milk. So I'm just like, anyway, these videos, they're actually really entertaining. They're really funny. It's like I'm with a proper chef, which obviously I am, but it's like a proper TV show with me asking questions and tasting things. And it's really, really good. But she's just flown back to the States, and I'm waiting for her to send the recipes. She's also got a recipe for vegan bacon, which is made with, guess what? Our favorite mushrooms.
Awesome. That would be interesting.
Yeah, she said it's absolutely amazing. Tastes brilliant. So, yeah. And she's going to include some other little recipes as well, and some salad dressings that, you kind of make, that are just like raw fruits and veg, basically. And they're absolutely delicious. Maybe a little bit of tahini in there. And she made one for us, and it was just fantastic. And we had the cheese, with a little bit of our Parmesan that we put on. It was just wonderful. Hi, Mary Beth.
Hey, do me a favor. Would you ask Chrissy if she's eating mostly canned mushrooms, or is she eating mostly raw mushrooms or cooking them? What is she?
Did you hear that, Chrissy? What kind of mushrooms are you eating? Is it canned, or are they fresh, and are you cooking them? Oh gosh, you'll never guess what, we were talking about, as mushrooms are grown in the dark, where do they get their stuff that gives you the vitamin D? Well, mushrooms photosynthesize, and what you can do with them to get them more fortified with what actually gives you vitamin D from them is when you've bought your mushrooms, if you stick them outside in the sun, they become even more engorged and they become more nutritious. So they help you even more because they absorb more of the sun's rays.
I did not think that mushrooms had any chlorophyll.
Yeah, she because I said, oh yes, because we were talking about mushrooms, and she was talking about dried stuff you could do with dried mushrooms. I can't remember what it was now. I'll have to watch the video back, and I was just like, really? And I was like, so you just buy dried mushrooms, or you can dehydrate them in very slow oven. And I said, what about those mushrooms at the back of your...
So they don't have chloroplasts, and therefore they don't have chlorophyll. Okay, so mushrooms do not photosynthesize.
Well, this is what I thought, but
now that doesn't mean that what you're saying isn't true. It just means it might be true for another reason.
Right. Okay. I will have to play the video back and get the information. But I was fascinated by it, and we literally the live before we'd been talking about that, and like, aren't they grown in the dark, and and all that business, and fed poo? She said politely. And so, how is it that they absorb stuff from the sun, which is
they don't. Fungi are saprophytes, okay, which basically means that that's why you give them excrement to grow on, because they live off of waste. They're bottom feeders, okay, so they don't have chlorophyll. They can't photosynthesize. And so they have to get all their nutrition from what's left over from other animals and plants. So
I will.
But anyway,
find what she said, because she talked about raw. Chris, you eat raw mushrooms, Chrissy.
She's eating them raw, so she's not cooking them.
You're not cooking them at all. Aren't you cooking them? Garlic mushrooms? No. I love garlic mushrooms. I just love I don't like those shiitake or whatever they're called mushrooms. They're a bit too funny for me. Mary Breath. They're all saying hello to Mary Breath. Boo to vegan cheese. Please post the recipe for vegan bacon. Yeah, I absolutely will. I'm actually going to make it as well and do a video for you. But I've been making a colouring my hair video today because I thought I would. It's actually quite hysterical. We all know the chef can talk. How long did your video come out, Sue? Actually, we had like a 9-minute video, and then we had like a 17-minute video, and then I think we had like an 8-minute video. So I've got 3 separate videos with 3 separate recipes in them. I think that's all we made. Is there anything else we made that I've like? Obviously, as I said, I've got Alzheimer's tonight. Fresh mushrooms, but I stir fry them sometimes. That's what Chrissy's saying.
But mostly she's just munching them right out of the little package of, sliced up mushrooms, right? That's very interesting to me, because I haven't developed that taste, but I always cook mine, or I get them out of a can. So I'm going to try it that way.
That's interesting, because Alicia said something about, there's something that happens when you cook them, and even the raw vegans will put the mushrooms under a little bit of heat. I wish I could remember what it was, but I'll let you know. Kel is saying, now I don't want to shock, in capital letters, everyone, but I ate vegan today.
Wonderful, yay.
Breakfast, avocado toast, lunch, salad with beans, corn, dinner having butternut squash cooked with a little coconut milk turmeric over brown rice. You superstar.
That really sounds
Absolutely. Good. I'm just so chuffed for you. Well done. And I know everyone's going to, they're all good. They've already beat me to it. Chrissy eats mushrooms every day, at least 8 ounces. And Mary Beth says to say hello to you, Jack.
Tell her I said hello too. Hello to all of you wonderful people.
Leanne is saying, what supplement is good to help lower cortisol? White bean or raspberry ketones?
Lower cortisone. Well, cortisol is released when the body is under stress. So I really, I'm not an herbologist. So I've studied a lot of vitamins, but I'm not aware of and there may be, that you might be able to use CBD, a relaxation product. I would say anything, chamomile tea might reduce your cortisol level. Incense, yoga.
Yeah.
How about herbal teas and things like that? I don't know of, and there may be something out there that's been shown to be a cortisol blocker. I don't know. I did some reading. In fact, I've been reading about some different, very interesting plant-based products that are out there that actually are really fantastic for improving lipids. This is sort of since I got my labs back, I've been wanting to, are there some interesting food items that I could throw in that may actually help suppress my LDL-C, my bad cholesterol? So I've been reading about some of those, but never really looked at anything to decrease cortisol. And I know there's a lot of people out there that believe that that they're overweight because their body's secreting too much cortisol because of stress. I have found that I have people that are under a lot of stress that are thin too, so they're elevated cortisol levels as well. So I think your diet plays a bigger role in that than the stress does. As far as anything specific, I simply don't have an answer for you there. I'd be happy to look and see what I can find, but you guys have the same, I go right onto Google and I start hunting and I look for research articles that I can trace back to some authentic publication, and then I go from there. That's sort of how I do it. So,
Oh, wow, that's good to know.
yeah, I mean PubMed, the National Institutes of Health, Journal of the American Medical Association, the Journal of the British Medical Association. I look for articles that have been published in reputable journals as to decide whether they're even worth reading or not. So if you follow those same kind of just basic guidelines, something that makes sense, is this a real research article? And then you can usually just take the abstract out of it. You don't have to read the entire article, but if you know where the article was originally published, then you can decide whether it's reliable information. And then you can take the abstract. And if you get the abstract, usually that's the boil down to say, this is what this article proves. This is it. This is what it shows. And you can use that. So you could plug in just your, cortisol suppressing herb, cortisol suppressing foods, for example, and then look for, start scrolling through and do some reading. And that's where I usually start. I don't subscribe to any particular like PubMed and some of these more, subscription based for researchers, because I'm not a researcher, I'm a clinician, right? So, but I'm continually reading about research in continuing medical education, and I come across things and I hold on to papers and I hold on to articles, and if I find something very interesting, I'll keep it. But as far as cortisol, that's been one of those things out there for a long time that that we know that if you have a hypercortisolemic state, that means that you're in a state of stress, almost like a fight or flight kind of situation. We think that it can play a role in heart disease and diabetes and things like that. And so we went through a stage years ago where people were looking for ways to naturally decrease cortisol levels, and I'm not sure we ever really found anything. It just sort of drifted off and to the next thing, which may have been, who knows what, chromium picolinate, who knows, Atkins, So, I mean, what?
No swearing on the channel.
Oh, it's ginkgo biloba is the new secret, This tree was extinct, and then we found it,
Yeah. This
rhinoceros tusk. Get the rhinoceros tusk. You have to have it, So whatever the next exciting thing that captures the imagination. Right now, it's keto. Keto. Anything keto is like, oh wow, you got to be keto.
Keto.
Somebody had some keto coffee at the office. Yep. I said, so what the hell is keto coffee? I think they put some butter in it. I said, that's absolutely disgusting.
Horrible. The only keto I want to know about is the Pink Panther's kung fu assistant that hijacks him.
Right. Yeah.
I know it's keto.
I thought, yeah, keto.
I know, but let's just in our brains associate keto with Kato and the Pink Panther.
There you go.
And then it'll all be just gone.
But meditation and yoga and chamomile tea and relaxation techniques are probably going to take you a lot farther for reducing your cortisol levels if you really feel like that's important. If you want to get your cortisol levels a little bit lower and you've had them measured, which, by the way, is not easy to do, because to get true cortisol levels, you have to get AM, first thing in the morning, urine. Okay? That's how you measure your cortisol, first thing in the morning. So you need fresh morning urine to get cortisol levels so you can get something accurate.
Okay, that is cool. Thank you very much. Leanne said she found out I'm a type C body. I carry all my weight in the middle section due to cortisol. Definitely going to have that level looked at. And Chrissy says me too. And somebody Chris said I can't eat mushrooms. They make me gag. Then what I suggest you do to get them into your diet is to whiz them up. I know you find the whizzing very funny. I don't mean urinating. I mean whizzing up in one of your blenders so that they're the size of like mincemeat, little bits like that, with other vegetables, and they kind of just melt into
like garlic does. That's right. Just like if you do garlic thin enough, it'll melt.
Okay. My son is all about texture. He doesn't like grapes because they're wet and slimy inside. He doesn't like the skin on the outside. He doesn't like the graininess of apples. He doesn't like the graininess of potatoes. Like, you name a fruit, he doesn't like the texture of it in some way. And mushrooms are like the nemesis of sensation and feeling hatred for him. They're slimy. They're like, ugh. Okay. I put them in everything he eats, and he knows it. I whiz them up. All my whizzed up recipes, in fact, only one's up there because I still can't get my ragu it won't even save on. I can't get it out of iMovies onto anything. It's driven me mad because it took me about 15 hours to make that video, and I haven't given up yet, but it's not up. If you whiz all your vegetables up to the consistency of mincemeat and then you fry them off, add all your flavors, add your liquid in, add your beans or whatever, you can have loads of mushrooms in that, Chris, and you won't taste them and you won't feel the texture of them. Literally, you won't. She's going to try that. Excellent. I've sold it to you. Excellent. You yes. Let me know how you go. And you can look up my No Bits vegan chili, 4-bean chili, I think I've called it. It's my last recipe that's up there, actually. Look up that. And that's how I did it, and actually I had to whiz everything up into a liquid, but he would eat it grainy as well. Just saying, because that's how I've cooked everything since birth. Like 3/4 vegetables, whizzed up to the same texture as minced beef when I used to cook with beef. And he would eat it because it was all the same texture going in. Mm-hmm. And he didn't taste any. I've even done it with Wink. I've even put Brussels sprouts in it and parsnips, which Wink hates parsnips, and all sorts of vegetables. Celery, he doesn't like celery either. I put them all in there. They just eat it all up. Celery's not food. He's barking from the kitchen. And Sika says that's me all the time. Fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
She finds she's in that mode. I can't. Chris is saying I can't eat mushrooms raw out of the can, but fresh mushrooms have almost zero taste, so I snack on them. Plus, they get thrown somewhere into every dinner, whether are stir fried or baked.
Wonderful.
Excellent. Excellent. I will do that vegan mushroom bacon because it's crispy. It's crispy, basically, like crispy bacon. Karen is saying, someone is saying ginkgo is good as a cortisol, to lower cortisol. And Sherry's saying just make sure you take a break from ginkgo too. It helps with memory as well. Karen is saying, what is your viewpoint on vegan margarine or margarine using plant-based oils?
Is that directed to me? Look, I occasionally will have a piece of toast with Dave's bread, right? Or the homemade bread, like my bread, right? We call it Jack's bread. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I didn't invent the recipe. It's just a simple bread recipe. And I will put a little bluebonnet margarine on it, okay? It is not a whole food, but it is vegan, all right? So, again, that goes toward my issue that I have with processed oils and oils in general and fats, because you can be a vegan and you can get lots of this stuff still, right? So it's sort of like, you just your body seeks it out, right? But for me, yeah. So the answer is no, it's not good for you, but it's a lot better for you than real butter. Okay. So everything in relative terms, it would be better if you didn't eat, margarine. But if you really want a little bit and you're otherwise eating pretty clean, it's probably not going to cause you any problems. Yeah. It's definitely, it's not going to upset your stomach. I would be sure not to use too much of it. I don't think you need to use it to do things like grease a pan or those kind of things, because then you end up using way too much of it. But just a little bit for taste on a whole grain bread or something, I think is probably fine. Just limit it, okay? Just like you would any other oils, you would limit it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I have it in my house because if Finian actually doesn't like butter, so he has everything direct onto the bread. But it's nice to know that if I make something that needs butter in it for Finian, it's a non-animal product. I give him quite a lot of vegan stuff actually. I know he has fish pate basically every day for lunch for like for almost his entire school career. That's what he has for lunch. Same lunch every day. I used to do more of a varied thing for him, and he used to have spinach leaves and lettuce and cress, but all of those have gradually, the texture thing has worn them away. And I make it with vegan cream cheese, and he said, tastes just the same to me. It tastes fine. And I'm just like, I know he's having tuna or pilchards or smoked mackerel or whatever it is. I know he's actually having the fish, but he's not having the dairy with it as well, and he doesn't use butter. So that makes me feel that I'm doing something more healthy for him. So it's certainly good to switch out your animal-based butters, because I'm guessing there are other people in your household, and if you just start using that, they just get on with it. As you said the other day, as a man, if a nice tasty meal is put down that I don't have to cook, I don't care what's I'm just going to eat it and be grateful.
Question it. That's right. I'm really not going to question. Men are really not that intelligent creatures when it comes to food. It's a very basic thing. If it's hot and tasty, we're going to eat it. I mean it's really true.
Yeah. Gobbled down my vegan meals this week, and he's been grateful that I've cooked them, and he's really enjoyed them. And he hasn't. I mean, the one I did that he's just had for supper tonight hasn't even got any pulses in it. It hasn't got any vegan substitute meat in it. It is just plants. That's all that's in it. And he said, oh, I like this one. That one's really, really nice, Right. So, it's just, there you go. Hi, Life as Ava. How are you doing? She's saying hi to you as well.
Oh, hello.
Leanne is saying, I'm already doing that with the yoga and incense and meditation. It's just all these surgeries I haven't been able to exercise the way I want to, and now I'm going to have foot surgery in June. Oh, I'm sorry for you, sweetheart. Do what you can. You can always do some form of yoga, even if you're just sitting in a chair and doing the breathing. It's going to help you. I've been researching yogic breathing. I came across a fascinating TED talk about this guy I didn't realise this. In fact, I will send it to you, Jack, 'cause I think you'll find it interesting.
Okay.
He studied yoga and he did a degree in chemistry, and he went to a university that did yoga and meditation, and he could get a chemistry degree. And then he took that further into biological sciences, and then he came to the UK so that he could he got a master's in that. So he's now studying cell biology. So like the big scientist, really sweet little Indian chap. And basically he was doing some yogic breathing, and he noticed that when he did this particular yogic breathing, which is from an ancient, script that was written like 3,000 years ago, he got a lot more saliva in his mouth, and he thought, oh, that's a bit odd. So he got his 10-year-old son to do this yogic breathing, and his son also had more saliva. And he was saying that saliva isn't just a digestive juice; it also has growth hormones and enzymes and all sorts of other compounds in it, other than just a digestive agent. And he was saying he got to thinking that maybe people who had dry mouth conditions, radiotherapy and various other things he mentioned, where the result is you have a dry mouth from it. He said maybe it could help them produce more saliva. So then he took a test group. He went into the laboratory and did a proper medical test, medical, whatever it's called. I've forgotten the word now. Definitely got Alzheimer's tonight. And
he did a
study. A control group. That's it, a control group. And then he had a group of people that were doing the yogic breathing, and all the people that are doing the yogic breathing produce more saliva. But when he analysed it, they had more of the compound in the saliva that actually helps to grow nerves, that makes nerves grow more. And there are compounds in it that help with the aging process and everything like that. So his whole goal is to find out these ancient medicines, because his grandfathers and grandmothers, they were all medics and midwives, and surrounded by medicine and yoga, which he hated when he was young. But his aim is to translate as many of these old transcripts as possible and apply them to modern diseases to see if things can help. And that's just one of the benefits of yogic breathing. So I was just like, because there's so many videos on breathing, and I know you spoke about, breathing techniques are one of the things that you kind of prescribe to patients who suffer from anxiety or stress or panic attacks.
Absolutely.
And the whole, even one of the yogic breathings is just you sit relaxed with your hands on your knees, you sit up nice and straight but relaxed, and you take a big inhale in so that your belly goes up, your ribs expand, and your chest, right, so that your lungs are full. And then you just hum. You just go until all the breath has gone out of you. And it takes so long to get all the breath out of you when you hum that whole process of going, it's actually one of the many yogic breathing techniques. But it is so calming, because the breath takes so long. And that's something you can do if you're feeling a little bit, it slows the heart down, it calms the body. And because whenever you focus on your breath, you shut your brain up, because you're focusing on your breath. So all these little thoughts, rather than fighting them out of your head, you let them come and go, but you keep focusing on your breath, and it's so calming. This is part of what I'm really getting into with the yoga now. I love the fact that I can bend and stretch, and I can bend down and put my forehead on my shins. Honestly, every day I can stretch further and I'm stronger. It's just, I'm just stunned at the transformation. But what I'm really interested in now is the breathing, because I think there are a lot of people that can't move, but we can all do breathing exercises.
That's right. That's really
so. And
good.
I also did last night I did a Bikram yoga 90-minute thing, and then I did the Wim Hof breathing, and I've actually got the app now. And my first round of breathing, I stopped breathing for 1 minute and, in fact, I know the numbers off by heart, I don't need to look it up, 1 minute and 15 seconds. Then I did another round of the breathing, and then I didn't need to take a breath for 1 minute and 45 seconds. And on my third round of breathing, I didn't need to take, stop it, I didn't need to, Wink just went, you died. It's like living with a 13-year-old, honestly, it really is. My third round of breathing, I didn't need to inhale again for 2 minutes and 8 seconds. I had enough oxygen in my body. It was just the most amazing thing. So I'm going to make sure I do my breathing, because I've done my yoga tonight. I'm going to do that breathing again. And it's got a little marker like the 7-minute workout that it scores what you do. So just to see, because I feel like my lungs, I just feel like my lungs are twice the size as they were, because I've exercised all my intercostal muscles so much with focusing on pulling my stomach in and the stomach going out and my ribs going out and my chest going up. Right, you feel the breath hit your collarbones underneath, like all the bits that hurt when you have pleurisy, when you take a big deep breath and you're inhaling through your nose and out through your nose most of the time, unless there are some that you go and you get it out really quickly by using your diaphragm, like pushing it in so it kind of shoots the breath out of your mouth. I'm finding it really fascinating, and I think there are a lot of people that get uptight, that get stressed, that panic, that suffer from anxiety, even depression and stuff, because you can't shut your head up from going on and on and on, a bit like me. But imagine that's in your head. And when you focus on breathing, in the end, when you're doing yoga, the only thing I'm thinking about is breathing in, bending forward, sucking that in, tilting that, turning my hand that way. All I'm thinking about is the movement of my body and my breath. The whole world disappears. I don't think about messages. I've realized they call it a form of moving meditation. My brain is literally my own. And I'm not thinking about me or how I feel. I'm just thinking about the movement and breathing in and out. It really is amazing. And you can do just the breathing. You literally can. And I know a lot of people have asked me if I will do something for people that can't exercise, and that is going to be the first thing I work out how to do. And I'm going to be asking them when I'm in India about that, because not everybody can bend their body in half. But you know what, I couldn't either, and now I can bend my whole body literally like that and put my hands flat on the floor, and it feels easy. It feels as easy as cleaning my teeth. It's really amazing. It's so transformational. Anyway, I've got on my yoga thing now. I'm very passionate about it, as you can tell. But there's so many benefits, really it is. So sorry, are there any questions? I wouldn't like raw eggplant. Kelly's saying, any suggestions on how to cook eggplant?
I think you bake it. Don't you bake it?
Yeah, you can bake it. You can grill it. You can make a nice burger out of it, actually, using like a portobello mushroom. You can grill. I wouldn't suggest doing what they ask you to do when you make a moussaka, which is to cover it in salt to draw the water out. You don't need to do that. You can bake it. If you just cut it into chunks and you put it into stews and stuff like that, it has this really lovely texture. It takes on the flavour of it, all the other flavours in there. I've also grated it. I've whizzed it up. It kind of melts, and it adds quite a nice meaty texture to things. But I eat most things raw, but I think it would be quite bitter raw. But it is really, really nice grilled. Very nice grilled. You can chop it up with like sweet potatoes, courgettes, the kind of softer vegetables that cook at roughly the same time. And you could, I know we're trying not to use too much oil, but you could coat them with a tiny little bit of oil, some herbs and spices, chuck them in the oven and bake them, and they come out all crispy and crunchy, and they're just lovely as like a baked vegetable, kind of like just so lovely. You know, all the herbs stick to them, you know, rosemary and thyme and all those lovely things.
I think this is probably a good place to bring this to an end tonight.
Oh gosh, yes, we've been on a long time, haven't we? Sorry, babes. Yeah, I've been going on too much. Sorry about my yoga. There's loads of stuff. They're all there.
You're very excited about it, and you're passionate about it, and obviously it's working something for you. So we're enjoying hearing about it.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. So that's, you know, this group is about being healthy, and we can be healthy in many ways. And
yeah, you know, we can.
You talk about meditation, and you know, I'm a confessed Christian, and in my studies and you know, my readings in the Word of God says to meditate on the Scriptures. So, you know, meditation has purpose, right? So meditation, whether, you know, for whatever you're meditating on, obviously it has a good effect, right? Its meditation is seen in lots of religions, and we know that it does calm the mind, right? So finding a way to center yourself is good, and if you can do it through breathing exercises or you do it through meditation, but this all came up through talking about cortisol. So this was really a very interesting discussion. So you going on and on and on about all of this was perfectly okay. I thought it was great. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Thank you so much.
I think we should be free to, you know, to explore these other areas. We're all open-minded people, and obviously we wouldn't be interested in doing something so radically different as leaving animal products out of our diets. I mean, it's absurd. We're actually on the fringe, you know. Some of us deserve to be thrown into padded cells. I mean, we don't eat hamburger anymore. There's something wrong with us. What do we eat, and where are we getting our protein? Obviously, there's something very wrong with all of us. So.
I know. We're all crazy, but we're crazy healthy, and we're getting further every day. Karen says, please tell Dr. G that Little Bacon says hi.
Oh, tell Little Bacon I said hello. She is awesome.
She heard you.
She was
and somebody I didn't say hello to, Melita. It was a type of yogic breathing exercise that causes you to create more saliva in your mouth. I'm going to find out what type of yogic breathing that is. It was a TED talk.
I think it was the underwater breathing experiment. Then, with that, I'm going to say good night.
Yeah. Me too.
Bye, everyone.
Love to you all, my darlings.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And I will put a link to that video about the yogic breathing in the description of this after it's uploaded. And it will take a while to upload. All right. Mwah. Love
bye,
you
everyone.
all so much.
Thanks.
Wink says bye. Say
See
bye
you, buddy.
to the Jack.
Hope you're feeling better.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.